welcome to a brand new episode here on Britain's Farm. So as you can see, we've got the sprayer on today, and we just need to get the weeds out of this crop. It turns out that I've sprayed the tracks too far apart, or too wide from the headland, so I don't know what I did there. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll drive straight through into that other field, and then we'll do this field down here, and then we'll come back and do this one. So, as I say, we've got this to do today. I've realised that I've missed the window for drilling my mustard because, as I say, we have, as you know, we grow mustard each year, but that was September, so I don't quite know how that one slipped by me because it certainly wasn't intended. It's no big problem because we can just grow some barley or some oats or more wheat or whatever. Obviously we'll need the wheat for the chicken feed. So as I say, we will have another field of wheat. We've got some hay that needs cutting off the field in around at the back of the sheds at the farm. We need to get rid of that hay on there. We need to get that baled and then probably put that in for the cows, and then I can get that field ploughed, and then that can be turned over to cropping them because as I say, I don't want hay on my fields, just because I'm sort of Richard has a heck of a lot of hay, and it's more than enough for what we want. He doesn't want to do too much arable, whereas I want to do all arable. So to do that, I need to get rid of the hay. But Richard has sort of kind of said, fair enough, but use the hay for the farm. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use the hay for the animals, and then we'll have more than enough then for the winter, which is good. In real life, there is a way you can drill your tram line so that you don't have to fold, so that each tram line comes exactly to the point. I've just broken the what's the matter with that? Yeah, so that you don't have to fold in, because each the tram line is the correct distance apart on both sides, and I can't remember how to do it. So hence the reason why we're having to do this, which is a little bit annoying, but I'm sure we'll manage. What we'll do is we will go like this. Should be able to get around it like that. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, all in all, it's going to be a busy day on the farm today. As I say, we've got this to do, and then we've got the discouring to do, and then as I say, we need to get some drilling going as well, because we can definitely get a couple of fields of a field of wheat and oats in, and then once we get that in and sorted, we can, as I say, then get on to looking at doing that hay, and then getting ready for winter, which as in real life on the game, it soon comes around again. It was only last winter that we were doing the trees and the forestry and the firewood. Whether Richard's got anything like that planned again this year, I don't know. I mean, he does own the forest down there near his grain farm, so whether he has got something like that planned or what, I don't know. But we'll wait and see. He usually gives us plenty of work in the winter time, because otherwise I wouldn't really have any if it wasn't for doing his bits and pieces. And as I say, we've still got some more harvesting to do down on Richard's land at his arable farm. We've got one more field of harvest to do there, and then we need to go up there, and I think he said that once we get that field harvested, he wants the 3 fields ploughed, so that will keep us busy for a bit over the winter, doing those 3 fields. And then obviously he's going, I'm assuming, for more spring crops, so it'll be interesting to see what he does have planned down there. But I've got to be honest, I wouldn't mind farming that myself. I have kind of sort of hinted, you know, you stay down this end where the animals are, and you let me take care of the rest up there. But he's not sounded too keen so far, and he's sort of kind of been ignoring my advances. So we will have to wait and see what happens on that one. I don't know why I've drilled these headland tram lines a little bit too far over. The only thing I can think of is that I didn't. I kind of sort of forgot where I was and what I was doing, and didn't run down the middle of the breed on the tram lines, and I actually did the next breed. I'll have to watch the video back to kind of see what I did wrong, because normally the tram lines do always work out right. So I'm not sure. Oh well. Well, that isn't going to reach that bit. So as you can see, I've made a right 2 and 8 of this. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What have I done? It's reaching not quite there. So yeah, I wish I hadn't recorded this bit now. I could have done this off camera and looked all professional. Never mind. We will. I'm sure we'll make a job of it. I did the same last year. I changed sprayers, of course, because the sprayer that I was going to use had an error in it, and it meant I couldn't. Well, it didn't really have any errors in it, apart from when you went in Giant's editor to make some alterations. The alterations didn't stay. You go back into the game, and it would be back how it was. I then got another sprayer, one that I wasn't going to use. Just literally went online, downloaded a sprayer, and did the same changes, and that sprayer was able to, the changes stayed. So I don't know why that sprayer that I wanted to use wasn't doing that, but yeah, it is what it is, I suppose. But as I say, we changed over to this sprayer, and because this sprayer was a little bit wider than the other one, so it meant that last year's tram lines were a little bit out as well, just like this year's. By the looks of things, I didn't do a very good job there. I'm not very happy with that. It looks quite amateurish, to be fair. Bit disappointed. Never mind. As I say, I'm sure we'll make a harvest of it yet. So, and I think as well, I'm fairly certain I forgot to roll these 2 fields. We'll have a look in a second because we'll get out and it will say needs rolling. Well, there you go. Look, that just proves how far I am out, because that should have needed for me to back up and go wide of it again. Never mind. We'll leave it as it is. It's my own mistakes and my own cock up that's done it. So we'll leave it as it is, and we'll have to take the weed penalty for it, unfortunately. But that's that job done. As I say, we've got some hay that needs doing. We've got some discarring that needs doing. I want to have a walk of the fields as well and just see which ones need ploughing. And then once we know where we're at in terms of ploughing and what doesn't need ploughing, then we can sort of make a judgment. It's a pity it's not a direct seed drill, because I could just then go into the field. It's the field that was mustard and the other field next to it, or behind it. Not this one to my left, but the other one. That excuse me, that came upon me quite quick. Yeah, it's the field. So you got this one in front of me, and then it's the one out there that I want to do, the first millet field that we harvested a couple of episodes back. It's this one to the left and then this one in front of me that I want to get done. I've still got the blooming tractor and trailer in the field. Oh dear. Right, we'll drop these off here because we will need them again, so there we go. And then we will just switch the engine off. We will quickly go and get that tractor and rescue it. Right, we don't need no ploughing in here, which is good. So that means we can just discard that. We don't need no ploughing in here, which is very good. So we can just discard these two fields, and then we can get on with drilling them. So it's a bit of a different episode again today. So doing today, no music, no time lapse, just me chatting away. Hopefully you enjoy it. I've had a couple of comments where people have kind of said, you do quite a lot of music and not much talking. I'd kind of like to hear a bit more talking. So if that's what you guys want, and you want to hear me chatting away and thinking out loud as I am, then I'm more than happy to oblige. So right, oh no, wrong tractor, sorry. See, normally that would get edited out. Wrong tractor. We want this tractor down here with the disc arrows on. So we'll do the one where we've just taken the little tractor out of the field, the Ford N out of the field. We'll do that one first, and then we will move over to the other one. I don't know whether we're going to get both of them done. Like I say, this is just a bit of a different episode today. As I say, people have kind of said that they would like to hear more chatting, and some other people have said, well, they'd like to hear some farming stories and different things that happened on the farm and what have you. So as I think of them, I will try and remember them, and I will then repeat them. And knowing me, I'll probably repeat them about 15 episodes down the road. It's the sort of thing I tend to do. But yeah, so I've been thinking machinery wise, I might be going to get rid of this Volvo. I might get rid of this Volvo and the little Super Dexter and go for obviously a new tractor, obviously, but tractor that's 180 horsepower, so it's a little bit more horsepower than the Massey Ferguson that we've got. And I think having two sort of high horsepower tractors, or one high horsepower tractor and then the Massey Ferguson. I think that will stand us in good stead and can replace two smaller tractors. I mean, this tractor's fine for, you know, things like disc harrowing and stuff like that. You know, it's absolutely fine for that, but you know, in terms of sort of doing other jobs around the farm, it's sometimes lacking a little bit. You know, but we'll see how we go with that. But the Super Dexter, I think, may well definitely be going, because it's a bit of a luxury to just have a tractor that sits on a tanker. You know, we've no need for that. You know, we could have another bit of kit elsewhere that would, you know, help the farm along quite nicely. Plus, as well, obviously we've got the farm build coming up within the next few episodes. I don't quite know when that's going to be, but we have got that coming up as well. So, you know, do we, you know, need a tractor that just sits on a tanker and gets used probably once every sort of 12 episodes or something? You know, probably not. So we'll maybe look to, as I say, we'll definitely be selling that tractor, but whether we get another tractor and replace this tractor as well, or whether we go for, you know, another bit of kit, or I don't know. Like, I've not really sort of made my mind up really, but you know, as I say, that Dexter has got to go. I mean, we bought the baler this year, just before the harvest, so that's done us better. Having the square bales, but yeah, we'll see how that goes with that one. There we go. So there is actually a reason why I'm going this way around the field. So it's not just a sort of random kind of, I just picked a way and went. So I'm going this way because, and I may have said this before, and if I have, I apologise for repeating myself, but in a previous video. But the reason I'm going this way is because the disc arrows, the front disc arrows, are angled the way they're angled, which means that I can keep them down and they'll just follow the tractor in sort of quite a nice sweeping sort of motion. That's not really the reason why you would want to go this way. The real reason is I don't know whether it's going to be simulated actually on these discs, sorry. So in here, in that black bit, yeah, so in that black bit where the bolt is, and then that knobbly bit, I don't know if you can see it, the bearing basically, and that's the reason why you would go the way that I'm going with the disc arrows rather than going against that and going the other way round, because what would happen is you would end up busting the bearings in the front disc on that side, well, on this side actually. You would end up busting the bearings and on the back one as well. But going this way round with the disc arrows facing this way, they will go round and it won't damage the bearings at all. So that's the reason why I sort of choose to go round this way. It's just because I can keep them down. I don't have to lift them up to go around the corners, which is obviously, you know, quicker. It means I can just keep working, but also as well, you know, just in case I do forget, and I did do it in real life as well. That's how I kind of learned. I hadn't long been working on the farm. It was the first summer that I worked there. I went on. I started work there Monday, August the 13th, and within a month I was put on the disc arrows, and I was disc arrowing the pealand that had been vined in the July, and they'd left it because at the time it was quite wet, and then by sort of the end of August it was really dry, and I went and discoured them, and I was going the other way round and sort of turning against the thing, and the boss saw me and sort of came over and said, and explained, but I did break the bearing in it, and I had to replace it. And once you have to replace a bearing in disc arrows, you damn well make sure you ain't going the wrong way with them no more. It was a hell of a job. I'm not very good at mechanics. Workshop is not really my forte. Hopefully we'll get away with, well, in real life you'd get away with that a little bit, but and you definitely will on Farming Sim. I mean, on Farming Sim it doesn't matter if I go the wrong way round, but the game doesn't sort of simulate that. But yeah, so it took me, I think, about 4 days to replace the bearings. Honestly, it was, and they just left me. No one would help me, and they said, no, like, you've got to learn, you've got to do it, blah blah blah, and yeah, it took me about 4 days. Because my job was predominantly ploughing, which it was on the other farm that I worked on as well. Because it was predominantly ploughing, I could fix the ploughs, because obviously you used to break like shear bolts, and on the first farm that I worked on, the land was really heavy, really heavy land, and quite stony land as well. And the amount of times that I would break a breastplate was unbelievable. And as I say, I got quite sort of good at replacing those, and also as well the points as well. So I used to change the points usually around sort of every 70 acres or so. Change the points, and I had on the first farm that I worked, I had a Lemken 5 a plough with subsoiler legs on it, and that I used to pull that with a John Deere 6620, and it would manage it, but as I say, because it was very heavy soil, and some fields were exceptionally heavy. The house that I lived in, that had one of the farm's fields behind it, and that field was exceptionally heavy going. I used to take the 5th furrow off and just knock it down to a 4 furrow, plough. Sorry, I hesitated there. Someone's just walked by the window where I'm recording and rang the doorbell, but we're okay. Yeah, so that's what I used to do. But yeah, I never went wrong again with the disc arrows after that time, because yeah, it was a nightmare, absolute nightmare. But never mind. Right, this will be the last time round the headlands, and then that should give us more than enough to turn round in. That's all I'm doing. It's just making it, and again, it's dry, so I do the headlands in real life. If it was sort of dry as what it's been on the game recently, we've had sort of quite a few days of sun, so that would make the ground quite dry. So I would again do the headlands first, and then so I'd then do the middle of the field, and then I'd do the headlands again, because if you, well, I found on the hard land that if you did the middle of the field but then sort of didn't do the headlands first, because you'd been turning and twisting and running on the headlands, when you came to do the headlands at the end, it invariably was almost impossible to break that soil up. So do them first, sort of get them loosened, then the tractor goes over them and sort of puts them back down again a little bit, and then go over them again, and then you make a bit of a job of it. And I'd usually, if I did go disc scouring, I'd usually disc scour the field at least 2 times, sometimes more. So it would sort of depend what it was really. Stubble probably 2 times, but pea land probably 3 times, and bean land probably 3 times as well if we weren't going to plough it, and we were just going to disc it. So we'd probably do that 3 times as well. It was all right discing. It was an okay kind of job. That's kind of like what happened in my first week on the first farm that I worked on. The second farm that I worked on, I'd again been there probably a couple of 3 weeks, and my first jobs had been rolling behind obviously the drill, and it then came a little bit wet, and they'd sort of because we were when I joined, they were drilling behind the Tate harvesters, and eventually the drill, because it was a 9-metre Verdistat, it caught up with the Tate harvester. We had 2 self-propelled Grimmy Tate harvesters and 2 Grimmy GT 170s Tate harvesting, and we caught it up. So I had to go off and do other jobs. So I was sort of told to go off in the Challenger and do some ploughing, to go plough some stubble, and the boss on the farm, he was a really good boss, really good boss, but he was what I would call, or farm manager really. That's what he was. He was farm manager. It wasn't his farm. He was just obviously the manager on the farm, and he was really good, and I really liked him and everything, but he was what I would call a really lazy farm manager. He'd kind of sit in his office all day, and he'd be in constant contact with everybody via phone, and very occasionally, if it was a nice day and the dog needed a walk, he would come out to the fields and he'd kind of see where you were anyway. So I'm new to the farm. It's a big farm. It's sort of farms from all across Sutton Bridge into Wisbech, on the way to Kings Lynn. I know these places don't mean anything to you guys that are not from round here, but this is the local area that I live in, and he said to me one day, he said, right, I want you, because I worked on the Long Sutton / Sutton Bridge farms, so those 2 farms were arable and vegetable, so that the Long Sutton one was mainly veg, and the Sutton Bridge one was all arable, like grains. And so I worked essentially for both, because each farm was divided up into teams. So you had the teams that would do the veg and the arable, then you had like the dairy team, and they would also usually do like beef stock and stuff like that, but mainly it was the dairy, because they looked after the dairy. And then you had sort of the organic side of the farm, which they didn't have very many acres of organic. I think they had about 300 or something like that. And then, say, other areas that I can't remember all of them. But I worked I worked as part of the veg and the grain team, the arable side of things. And Adrian said to me, "This is over the phone, right?" And I'm terrible at directions, right? Absolutely shocking at directions, right? Honestly, even locally, I'm terrible. I was coming home from taking my boy home at the weekend, and I went to his house the usual way, but on the way back I fancied a bit of a ride around, and so I kind of sort of went off for a little bit of a little drive to kind of see if I could sort of see any tractors and that working, and I I came to this road and it was shut, and they had the diversion signs, so I thought, oh, I'll just follow the diversion, and that's great. But, and I don't know if you guys find this, but they kind of don't do the diversions the whole way to get you back where roughly you wanted to be. It was like they were halfway, and then there was no more signs, and I ended up driving. And in the end, I had to ring my mum. It's like, I'm lost. And she was like, where are you? And I went, well, I think I'm in Holbridge, I think. And she was like, how the hell are you lost from Holbridge? You're only 4 miles from home. I had no idea where I was anyway. So Adrian rings me over the phone, instructions. Don't know where any of the fields are anyway. Yeah, he rings me and sort of says to me, you need to go to this field. Gives me directions. Well, the lines of communication broke down because I sort of only know sort of certain and set ways to get to places. As he was telling me, I knew roughly where he was, and so I thought, well, I don't know that way that he was telling me, so I thought if I go my way, well, of course, what I hadn't legislated for was that he told me the field, but of course he was telling me from coming in from his way, whereas I was kind of imagining it going in from the other way. So I counted the number of fields that he told me to count and went into the field and ploughed the field. Did a wonderful job, absolutely brilliant job. Anyway, the next day gets the field done. It was quite a big field. The next day gets the field done, rings him and says, right, where do you want me to go next? Because at that stage, because I was new, I hadn't sort of got a norm. When I got there after after my 13-week trial, which in farming is quite common. I've had that on every farm, even though I've been sort of fully experienced and what have you. Farms, still say, oh, it's 13-week trial. And after 13 weeks, then, you kind of get your name on the job board, and then you know what you're doing. You just either take a photo of it or, as I used to do, because I'm not very technologically minded. So I literally just, write it down and then put that notepad in my bag or my tractor or wherever, and that would be that. And did a brilliant job. Rang him up. Where do you want me to go now? He said, I'll go there. So he said, I'll go and have a look at it. He goes, if it's good, he said, I might make you head of ploughing. So I was like, oh, okay. He goes, because the guy that you replaced, that was his job, and he said, look, so that's what I might make you. I might give you that job completely, and you can just go sort of ploughing. So I was, quite happy with that, because as I say, that's what I'd been doing. And anyway, I was in the next field that he told me to go to, and happily playing away, my phone rings, and he goes, are you having a wind up? And I said, why? And he said, I thought you said you'd finished that field. So I said, I have. So he said, well, I'm at that field now, and it hasn't even been ploughed. And I was like, ah. So I said, oh, I did. I said, I came in from such and such way, counted, and he went, well, I was telling you from the other way. Oh, I think I know where I went wrong. So he had to get in touch with the farmers who field I'd ploughed, and after a little bit of good humour and I think a little bit of compensation, I think everything was okay. But I mean, after a day or three, the whole farm had a really good laugh at it, and even Adrian found it funny, but he didn't find it very funny initially. But anyway, that was what I did, and I did that a couple of times in the first sort of year or so, year and a half that I was there. I ploughed the wrong fields. Like I said, I'm just useless with directions. So if you give me directions, don't expect me, or certainly don't expect me on time. But yeah, so that's kind of a day in a day in the life of me. But anyway, this video has gone on now for a little while, and as I say, I've sort of chatted away, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. You know, something a bit different. I mean, if not, you know, just say you haven't, and just say you like it the way it was before, and no issues, and you know, we'll go back to doing it the other way. You know, no problem at all. You know, so but hopefully, as I say, hopefully you've enjoyed it, because it's a bit, you know, bit of a change just to sit and chat and tell you guys, you know, how sort of kind of stupid I am sometimes, and clumsy, and what have you, and yeah, hopefully you really like it. Anyway, thanks ever so much for joining me on this episode. I've really enjoyed having your company. I've really enjoyed telling you, you know, some stories and a little bit of farming information, and hopefully you'll join me again next time. Bye for now.